All right, welcome back. Today, we are jumping right into the deep end, into the kind of strange and really symbolic world of early Christian thinkers. We're going to try to unlock the hidden logic behind some ancient texts that, at first glance, can seem totally contradictory.
So, have you ever done this? You've picked up some ancient writing, you start reading, and pretty soon you're just scratching your head thinking, this makes absolutely no sense, right? One part seems to say the exact opposite of another. Well, you are definitely not alone. But what if I told you that the confusion was the whole point? You see, for this 7th century theologian, a guy named Maximus the Confessor, these apparent mistakes and contradictions weren't errors at all. He had a special name for them, Ambigua, which just means difficulties. And he saw them as deliberate puzzles, these little intellectual and spiritual challenges left by the author, basically inviting the reader to dig deeper and find a much higher meaning. Okay, so to see how this works in practice, let's put on our detective hats. Our first case is a real head-scratcher. We're calling it The Mystery of the Two Sundays.
So here's the problem, and this came straight from Maximus's own readers. A super respected teacher, St. Gregory, he declares that the Sunday of the Resurrection is the greatest feast of all. Period. But then, just a little later, he says that this other day, called the New Sunday, is somehow more sublime and more marvelous. I mean, how can that be? How can you possibly have something that's better than the best? It sounds like a total contradiction. So this is how Maximus solves the puzzle. He explains that they aren't talking about the same kind of greatness at all. The first Sunday, the resurrection, that symbolizes a future promise. It's about a virtuous choice that we make. You can think of it as the foundation. But the new Sunday, well, that represents something else entirely. It's about the ongoing participation in divine blessings, a little taste of future divinization that's given by grace. And that is the crucial point right there. It's not a contradiction, it's a progression. The resurrection is the incredible one-time promise, but the new Sunday represents the ongoing, dynamic, and always improving experience of living out that promise. Like Maximus said, we should be constantly moving, improving a completely new creation. So the experience is always more sublime than the initial event because it's alive, it's growing. And just like that, puzzle solved. Okay, so if you thought that was a bit of a mental workout, you might want to buckle up. We're moving from literary puzzles to a whole new level of symbolic thinking, mystical mathematics. And this is where things get really fascinating. Let's start with a simple number, 7. We see it everywhere, right? 7 days of the week, 7 wonders of the world. For these ancient thinkers, it held this wealth of mystical significance. But it wasn't just the number itself that was important. It was how you could construct it. So, according to one of Maximus's sources, you can get to the number 7 using this very specific formula. You take the first 3 numbers, you multiply them to get 6, and then you add 1. Now, the point here wasn't about modern mathematical precision. For them, this little formula revealed a hidden relationship, a pattern woven right into the fabric of reality. It was all about seeing connections everywhere. And this just brilliantly illustrates how creative they could be. Take the number 12. It wasn't just 12. It was the 5 senses plus the 7-fold nature of time, or it was the 4 virtues plus the 5 types of natural philosophy plus the 3 parts of mystical theology. It was present things and future things. It was divine principles multiplied by the types of beings. I mean, each formula revealed a totally new layer of meaning, a new way the cosmos was ordered and interconnected. So what is the master key that unlocks this entire way of thinking? Well, it all comes down to their fundamental view of the universe, which kind of tied all of these ideas together. The official term for this whole technique is anagogical interpretation. I know, it's a fancy word, but it's really just a way of saying that the literal, surface-level meaning of a text is only the beginning. For these thinkers, this wasn't just some clever literary tool, it was absolutely essential. They believed divine truth was veiled by literal words, and this method was the only way to pierce that veil to see the higher spiritual reality they were pointing towards. It was kind of like having a decoder ring for reality itself. And this whole worldview is built on a core philosophical idea from Maximus. He says that reality exists on 3 levels. First, there's the basic mode of being, just existing. Then there's the mode of well-being, which is something you achieve through your choices and virtues. And finally, there's the mode of eternal being, which is that ultimate spiritual fulfillment given by grace. And that is the big takeaway here. For these thinkers, everything, every story, every number, every single object in the physical world was a symbol, a signpost. The literal world was like a map, and the whole point of reading the map wasn't to admire the paper it was printed on, but to follow it to the incredible destination it was pointing to.
So this leaves us with a really fascinating thought. I mean, we might not interpret numbers this way anymore, but that desire to find patterns, to see a deeper meaning behind the surface of things, that is so profoundly human. And it poses a timeless question. If the universe is a text, what are the patterns that give your life meaning?